Hello dear students, let's discuss digestive system of pigeon. I'm Dr. E. Harini, selection grade lecturer and HOD Department of Zoology, St. Joseph's College for Women Autonomous, Vishakhapatnam. The learning outcomes are: identify the major organs and structures of the pigeon's digestive system, describe the structure and function of the alimentary canal from the mouth to cloaca, explain the role of digestive glands such as liver, pancreas, and salivary glands. Analyze how the digestive adaptations help the pigeons meet the high energy demands of flight. The digestive system of pigeon is well developed and includes an alimentary canal and the digestive glands. The alimentary canal is long and a coiled tube of varying diameter. It comprises of the mouth, the buccal cavity, pharynx, esophagus, stomach, small intestine and large intestine, which opens to the exterior by the cloacal aperture. All the segments of the alimentary canal fall into the following three categories: the foregut or the stomodium, the midgut or the mesenteron, and the hindgut or the proctodium. This is the diagram showing the digestive system of pigeon. You can see it starts from the beak, the esophagus, the crop, moving on to the gizzard, and then the parts of the duodenum, coming to the ileum, the colon, and the cloaca. The digestive system, let's discuss about the foregut portion. The portion of the alimentary canal from the mouth to the stomach is lined by ectodermally derived layer. It includes the following organs: the mouth, buccal cavity, pharynx, esophagus and crop, stomach, proventriculus and gizzard. Mouth. The mouth is the anterior-most opening of the alimentary canal. It is called as the mouth. In pigeon, the mouth is a wide slit-like aperture bounded by the upper and lower horny beaks having no teeth. All the modern birds are characterized by not having teeth. The mouth is followed by the buccal cavity. The buccal cavity has a large, narrow, triangular and pointed at the tip, the tongue at its floor. The tongue has few taste buds and mucus glands and has the function of manipulation of food. The buccal cavity leads into the pharynx. The posterior-most part of the buccal cavity may be called as the pharynx. A pair of elongated apertures, the posterior nares, opens in the roof of the pharynx. At the floor of the pharynx occurs an oval aperture with tumid lips which is called as the glottis, and the glottis opens into the trachea. Posteriorly, the pharynx opens into the esophagus. The esophagus or gullet is a long, wide, distensible and thick-walled tube which runs backward through the neck to join a large dilated reservoir or crop. It is a large, thin-walled, bilobed, elastic and a non-glandular sac. The crop enables the bird to store the food quickly, which is quickly swallowed for later digestion. It is specially large in graminivorous birds, that is, those which feed on these grams, like the pigeons, finches, buntings, parrots, etc. The grains are moistened and softened in the crop. The epithelial lining of the crop in both the sexes thickens and sheds a white, slimy, proteinaceous and fatty crop milk during the breeding season, on which the youngs are fed by both the parents. The pigeons are noted for their unique ability to produce pigeon's milk, which is a nourishing secretion. And this pigeon's milk is produced by the degeneration of the epithelial cells lining the crop under the control of the prolactin hormone secreted by the anterior lobe of the pituitary gland. This hormone stimulates and controls the formation of pigeon's milk. Pigeon's milk contains water to around 65 to 81%, protein 13.3 to 18.8%, fat 6.9 to 12.7%, and lactose 1.5%. It is more nourishing than the cow's milk. The pigeon's milk contains 35% of fat in comparison to 3 to 5% in cow's milk. The young ones fed on it double their weight in 2 days, and the pigeon's milk is regurgitated to the youngs. The crop also contains some mucus secreting glands. Beyond the crop, before opening into the stomach, the esophagus becomes thick walled and narrow tube. The stomach is differentiated into an anterior glandular proventriculus and a posterior muscular gizzard. The proventriculus is a small, thick-walled and glandular structure appearing externally as a slight dilation of the esophagus, but it is a gastric structure. Its thick mucus lining secretes the gastric juice. The spleen is a small oval red body and remains attached to the right side of the proventriculus by the peritoneum. Coming to the gizzard. The gizzard represents the pyloric region. It is large, hard, muscular and laterally compressed, having the shape of a biconvex lens. The thick walls of the gizzard have thick muscles radiating from the two tendons. Its narrow lumen is lined by epithelium, in which are present numerous minute tubular glands, which secrete a fluid which becomes thick, horny, and of a yellow or green color and lines the gizzard. Its yellow or green color is due to the regurgitated bile. The cavity of the gizzard always contains small stones or grit swallowed by the bird, and these stones help the gizzard in grinding the food. The gizzard into the small intestine and opening of the gizzard into the small sphincter called the pyloric valve or pylorus. In carnivorous birds, the gizzard is not so muscular. Coming to the midgut region, in the midgut, the mesenteron or the small intestine is a narrow tube and has a lining of endodermally derived epithelium. The small intestine is divided into an anterior duodenum and a posterior ileum. The bile and the pancreatic ducts usually open into the distal limb of the duodenum. In pigeon, the left bile duct enters close to the pylorus. The duodenum arises from the dorsal side of the gizzard, so that the pyloric opening of the gizzard into the duodenum lies close to the cardiac opening of the proventriculus into the gizzard. The duodenum forms a U-shaped loop enclosing the pancreas between its two limbs. The ileum. The portion of the small intestine behind the duodenum is called ileum, which is a long and a coiled tube of uniform diameter. The inner lining of the ileum is having a number of finger-like processes or villi which increase the surface area of absorption. The ileum continues into the large intestine, which is of the similar diameter, and the function of the ileum and the large intestine is externally marked by the presence of a pair of small rectal cecae. The rectal cecae probably absorb some water from the digestive food. The large intestine or hindgut is a short tube comprising an anterior rectum and a posterior cloaca. The hindgut consists of the cloaca. The cloaca is a large chamber and divided into three linear compartments: an anterior copropodium, which receives the rectum, the middle urodium, which receives the urinary and the genital ducts, and the proctodium, which opens to the outside by the cloacal aperture or a vent. The urinary products are made solid by the absorption of water in the urodium. A small thick-walled glandular blind pouch of lymphatic tissue, the bursa fabrici, lies on the dorsal side of the cloaca. The rectum is narrow and is of the same diameter as the ileum, and it opens into the cloaca. Its opening into the cloaca is guided by an anal sphincter. You can see here the esophagus leading into the crop and then into the gizzard and then the duodenum, the pancreas, and this is the duodenum. Coming to the digestive glands, the buccal glands. The pigeon has no salivary glands but only has a median sublingual gland, and these glands are the only buccal glands which secrete mucus to moisten the food and probably the amylase enzyme. The tongue also bears few mucus glands. The gastric glands. The epithelial lining of the proventriculus contains many gastric glands which secrete certain gastric juices containing peptic enzymes. The liver of the pigeon is large, compact, dark red, bilobed, consisting of the right and the left lobes. In pigeon, the gallbladder is lacking, but it is present in gallus and many other species, and the liver secretes bile juice. The pancreas. Between the two limbs of the duodenum is a large, compact, reddish digestive gland, the pancreas, and the pancreas pours the secretions containing many enzymes into the distal limb of the duodenum. The intestinal glands. The epithelial linings of the intestine have many glands which secrete many enzymes. The duodenum is lined with villi and single or branched crypts of liberculum, and the globate cells are also present. Coming to the physiology of digestion. The pigeon is graminivorous. It feeds chiefly on cereals, pulses, seeds, etc. The seeds are picked up with the beak, manipulated by the tongue, and lubricated inside the buccal cavity with the secretion of the buccal glands. The food is then swallowed as such because the beaks lack the teeth. The food which is lubricated and moistened by the secretion of the buccal glands inside the buccal cavity passes through the esophagus into the crop where it is stored. Inside the crop, the food is softened by the action of the body warmth, water, mucus, amylase enzyme of the buccal secretions, and also due to the bacterial autolytic action. From the crop, the food passes into the proventriculus where it is chemically acted by the peptic enzyme of the gastric juice. From the proventriculus, the food enters the gizzard where the mechanical breakdown of food takes place by the muscular contraction of the gizzard wall and the grinding action of the small stones inside the lumen of the gizzard. In gizzard, little digestion of food occurs and it is made acidic by the secretion of its walls which have many hydrogen ions. The partly digested food, the chyme, passes through the pylorus into the duodenum. In the duodenum, the chyme is mixed with bile, pancreatic juices, and the chemical conversion of fats, proteins, and carbohydrates into glycerol, fatty acids, and amino acids, along with monosaccharides, takes place in the duodenum like the other vertebrates. The bile salts help in the digestion and absorption of fats. Therefore, in the duodenum, all the three types of foodstuffs, that is, the proteins, fats, and carbohydrates, are readily converted into diffusible micromolecules, that is, the amino acids, glycerol, fatty acids, and the monosaccharides. These micromolecules readily diffuse into the thin walls of the ileum and mix into the blood. The bile salts help in the digestion and absorption of the fat. Thus, digestion, absorption, and assimilation of food occurs in the small intestine. The undigested portion of the food passes on to the rectum, where the absorption of the remaining water takes place. The fecal matter, which is almost dried due to the absorption of water, is finally ejected through the cloacal aperture. The large surface area, the high temperature, the great activity of the birds necessitate a high food intake, especially in the smaller birds, and this is due to the rapid passage of food through the gut. The amount of food taken per day may reach nearly 30% of the body weight in the very small gold crest and about 12% in the starlings, which weigh 75 grams. The food is very efficiently utilized in spite of the rapid passage. Coming to the summary. The digestive system of pigeon is highly specialized and efficient, enabling rapid processing of food to meet the high demands of flight. The unique adaptations such as the crop for food storage and the pigeon milk production. The gizzard for mechanical grinding and a compact cloaca for waste elimination highlights its evolutionary refinement. Together, the alimentary canal and the digestive glands function in a coordinated manner to ensure effective digestion, absorption, and nutrient utilization, making the pigeon's digestive system a model of avian efficiency. Thank you for your patient listening.